The first thing they'll look at when the layoffs happens, the new entry into the company is not the old one.
I thought the first thing that they look at is your comp. How much are you trying?
While I have been with one organization, I've had many careers.
Minimum learning curve is 6 months. And then again you hop to the other job.
I'll just change the word of hopper to a strategic career investor.
Strategic career investors. Question for you is, they look at you plug and play. They don't look at you as a person, but they look at have a machine. So do you agree with that?
You want to prove yourself, you can prove yourself within a month, day, and tenure is not equivalent to trust is what I feel.
Fresh eyes alone can only take you so much. If you're building something long term, it might take a different field is what I feel.
How comfortable you are as an individual staying in a similar role, doing the same thing for next 3 years, I wouldn't be.
Before going public, my CEO called, I'm making you as a shareholders of the company, and he gave some shares to us.
You guys hiring?
Company.
I have been in an organization where I was given the ESOPs and I said ESOPs don't run my house. What I'm getting in hand is running my house.
There are instances happened with me. I took up one project which miserably failed, where our company has to take a loss of entire year's profit, but still company said it's okay, it's just money.
No, unfortunately, we don't have many philosophers left in the world.
While employers are building a portfolio of talent, why don't you build a portfolio of opportunities for yourself?
Hi everybody, I'm Shubhi. I've been with Aditya Birla Group for 16 years and currently I head the Ralph Lauren India business. While I have been with one organization, I've had many careers.
Hey, hi, my name is Gajendra. I'm a business head managing business for Microsenses. I'm with company for 15 years now. Today, I manage the entire business of Microsenses, which is around 450 crores. I think around 300, 400 people work with me, and I have 9 branches to manage.
Hi guys, I'm Siddharth and I work as a senior PM at a fintech called Candescent. I think I've worked with close to 6 to 7 orgs. Has been a varied but rich experience.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarita. I'm currently working with PepsiCo as their Associate Director of E-commerce businesses, managing majorly businesses in the international markets from the e-commerce lens. Been with the 7 to 8 organizations in my journey, have wore multiple hats during that journey into different kind of roles, from performance marketing to sales to campaign management and to managing the entire business as well.
What is it? Honest answer is yes, but given today's time and age, I'll quote LinkedIn on this one, right? I see a lot of people, someone who's come in new, right, has been paid more than someone who's, in the system for, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? So if not only, but I think this is one of the most powerful tools, right, to actually secure more money, right, or secure more compensation, right, for yourself.
But I also have a perspective, while employers are building a portfolio of talent, why don't you build a portfolio of opportunities for yourself? So the way inflations are happening, there is no harm in looking for the growth for yourself. And if this is one of the way you can grow financially, then why not?
So if you look at the other side also, I'm an engineer. By the way, I chosen as a sales because sales as a career. And when I did the interview with the company, they told I'm not eligible for that. They gave me the offer called MRE, Market Research Executive. It's lower than the sales career. I was started managing only Bangalore as an operation. The one of the part of the member of the Bangalore team, and later part become a senior sales engineer, and then area sales manager, territory sales manager, then become a regional sales manager, national sales manager. Today I'm a business head managing business of Microsenses. So whatever the things needs to be taken care for, as a commercially also taken care by my company.
In our case, as well as he also mentioned, and I can speak for myself, sticking around and winning in the industry, in the market, and getting to that leadership level is also one of the ways to be very, very competent. So it is not the only way, it is one of the ways.
One of the ways.
But sticking around for long enough and getting that edge in the market is something that has worked really well.
Okay, there's no skip button.
I have had a 100% hike within the same organization with a double promotion. That happened because I decided to leave. Otherwise, it was not happening. So I don't know if that answers the question in the right way.
It does. I've had a good one. I will not mention the percentage, but to the extent that I opened the letter and I was like, really? Like, what are the things? Aisa kya ho gaya? But that happened, and that too, I was in the same role. So neither role changed nor anything else changed. My sense is it happened because looking at the last 2-3 years and the kind of performance I was up to. And when organization found the right time, they ensured it came to me without asking.
A background story to this where it's like I moved to this organization with 0% hike, which I mentioned some time back, while I was performing really well, and I was promised a correction after joining because it was during COVID period. I started seeing there is no correction happening, but my work is continuously increasing.
Yeah.
While I was hired for one particular role, I was managing 5 other roles as well at the same time. Now, that was a conversation which I wanted to have. I had that conversation. I was like, no, why don't you just continue? And then I went outside the market and I checked what's the value that I have right now. So I officially didn't put down my papers, but I did mention that, okay, outside, this is what I'm getting. This is what I have right now. Would you want to look at it? And they looked at it. And I was also surprised looking at my letter. I wasn't even hoping for that percentage, but the moment they called me in the office, they gave me the letter, and I was like, are you serious about it? That was my first question to the CEO. Are you serious about it? And she was like, yeah. I think that made me stay again in the organization, I would say. But yeah, I stayed for a year after that.
No, but it was a good thing. I'm speaking from the other side now. While I did share my story, there was a very capable lady in my team. And one fine day, she called me in the evening and said, Shubhi, I want to have a chat with you. And when somebody says like that, you know, okay, what is coming? Yeah. So I called her up and she said, I've got an offer from another organization and this is the jump they are offering. And I said, give me some time to think and figure it out. I had few discussions internally. And after 2 days, I went to her and said, listen, if money is something you're looking for, we will not be able to match it in the next 3 years also. So what you've got is amazing. If you need money right now, if I were you, I would take it. However, if you have the patience to stay, we'll take 3 years to match. But then she deliberated and then she chose to move on. And I think that was the right decision for her. So she actually coming back and telling it to me was helpful. Otherwise, she would have continued and never reached there. So I think what you did, Sarita, as well makes sense. It worked for you.
It always makes sense to move because ultimately you're working for yourself, right? No matter what you say that I'm working for a company, country, right? Or whatever higher purpose. Ultimately, it's you, right? So yeah, if it serves you well, then.
For me, I think, I got the more than 100% hike internally because I didn't ask. My CEO came to me and saying that there is opportunity for you rather than making a small territory, you have to manage the entire country kind of thing. I didn't ask. It came to me because since our organization, sales organizations, there are the people, couple of team members who left organization and they came back after some time saying that which is not working for them. Because as I said, because sales is one which they measure because when they are paying little higher hike, might be 100% or 30% hike, they would have got switching from one company to other company. But they look at the results. So they are not able to deliver within 1 or 2 months or one or 2 quarters. Definitely they will call back and say, is there any opportunity? We want to come back to you. Because it's about the culture. It's not about just the culture is very, very important. So trust and culture is very important for any of the company.
And just to add a little, I think, but what you mentioned, culture is very important, but are you being rewarded for the work that you are doing? Are you being taken care of by the organization? And I think that's what even for us, it's a 1 year, 2 years of loyalty. Yeah. Yes, rewards at the end of the day do matter. Your visibility matters. And are you learning? Yes.
If you look at my company, predominantly bare minimum, the people who are there with them, they have completed 5 years. By the way, I am one of the shareholder of the company again.
You guys hiring?
Company. So
are you telling us again?
But you'll have to stay for 3 years. I think.
Bare minimum 3 years. So, bare minimum. So 29th of May, we become public. Even before going public, my CEO called few of our employees, top level employees. I told, I'm making you as investors, or shareholders of the company, and he gave some shares to us. So that is where the trust and loyalty comes into place. Great. So if I would have been Hopper, I didn't even know what is happening in my organization. So because the loyalty of
the underlying word is reward actually.
Yeah.
You're being rewarded.
Yeah. So I agree because that is one way of rewarding the people, loyal people. If you work for the company grows, obviously the wealth also grows.
No, that's largely true. But see, from personal experience, I have left a company, right, even when the ESOPs were not vested completely, right? Because one, I was being compensated better. And second, I could not find myself growing in the same role. It's not just the only lever, right, that you would want someone to, because had that been the case, then everybody would be staying in companies, right, with a lot of ESOPs in their kitty, but that doesn't happen. So I think ultimately it has to align with, where you want to go. Because a lot of times companies think that, okay, I've given ESOPs and now, it's all sorted. People are going to stay with the vesting period over. But that rarely happens. Unless the company is hyper growth, like Paytm, I don't know.
So the question, the thought is, how do we decide to stay? I have a very simple formula. The amount and the duration of vesting. If that works for you, then please stay as long as you need that money.
Yes.
If it's an amount that can be replaced or the vesting is too long and you don't like it, by all means. So if the amount is big enough to say no to, even if it's 5 years, just stick around, get that money and have a good life.
I have a slightly different view to this. I have been in an organization where I was given the ESOPs and I said ESOPs don't run my house. What I'm getting in hand is running my house. So I want to get paid well for the work that I'm doing. And while I believe in your idea, but we don't know what will happen 5 years later. Do I want to wait for 5 years just to see if you are really going to crack the market? Maybe not. I don't want to. I do have friends who have stayed in the organizations and I think again that was a very calculative move that they have done because the organization was built, they had stayed in the market for 7-8 years, then they got the ESOPs and they knew that okay, this is going to do something in the market.
Correct.
So then it makes sense. Like for example, Flipkart, right? If I definitely believe in the idea, I would. If I don't, then I would probably won't care about ESOPs. That's
And
my
also assuming the buyback happens till
Yeah.
this day. If it doesn't, then anyway,
Yeah.
it's gone for a toss.
See, layoffs do happen. They will happen. They've been happening. And as we speak, they're increasing. Something like this happens. Will I be disappointed? Yes. Why not? But I'll be all right. And the reason is over the years, I've built skills that are mine. The knowledge that I have, the expertise that I have, the leadership thoughts that I have, and the market credibility that I've built. The name that people reckon with, they sort of know it. I think that is purely mine.
Adding to that point, if your employee know about the value about you and the kind of the service you have done for the organization, the first thing they'll look at when the layoffs happens, the new entry into the company is first they look at, not the old one, because they know that they can give us. Yes. So it happened to my organization also, and there are things. If you look at,
I thought the first thing that they look at is your comp. How much are you drawing?
No.
If you're drawing like, a big fat check, old, new, doesn't matter. But anyway,
Yeah, so because I come from the company which only 300 and 400 people across the country, there we look at little differently because our philosophy is little different. I took up one project which miserably failed, where our company has to make a loss of entire year's profit. But still company said it's okay, it's just money. We lost just money, don't worry. We'll rebuild it next year. And in a couple of years we build it.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, unfortunately, we don't have many philosophers left in the world. But yeah, I mean, to your point, right? So, see, if you build up the right skill set, right, and even then you might, end up getting laid off. I mean, see, it's the sad story of today's world, right? Because of, maybe the company doesn't have budget. They've chosen to move in a different direction. Priorities have changed, right? So layoff doesn't happen just because they don't have money. It could be multiple things, right? Maybe they're pivoting, right? They were into a certain field, but now they just don't want to be that. But yeah, if you have that solid skill set, someone good will definitely find you. So I think early on it was more executional skills, right? Like how do you create a PRD, right? How do you create a BRD, right? How do you create that document? How do you handle Jira and all of that, right? So more execution based things. But I think as I've moved up the ladder, they are now more structured around business outcomes, build versus buy strategy. So these have become more strategic for me now, right? Rather than just execution based skills.
While I started as an executioner, I learned execution, I moved to operations, I moved towards strategy, and I make business decisions today. It had been an add-on on the skill that I picked. I chose career in digital marketing, and then how from just being someone managing executions to someone making business level decisions. For someone sitting at the top to know whether I'm making the right decision or not, that was required. So I think it has been levels of skills I have acquired just to make sure that be confident about the decision I'm making today.
So for me, I think because when I joined the organization, I think I was an individual contributor. So that's where we required the skill sets of knowing the market and what kind of strategies which I am applying for the quarter by quarter. So once I moved to the ladder, because how to manage the people now, how to delegate those work to the people, then how to strategify myself to the particular territory, particular industry segment. And now I think currently I can overall company, where we can go to the next growth engine or might be the next expansion. So that is what the skill set I have developed over the year in the same organization.
if I reflect at my journey and look at I am today, the ability to get to the right thought process and the decision is something that's very close to me. And if I have to look at a skill set, really, I think the ability to pick something up, and I'm talking very specific to my industry, to pick something up, to grow it into a larger business is something I'm very comfortable with. Today, I'm working with a particular brand. Tomorrow, the brand could be different. But my ability to transform, and largely in this case, in fashion and international brand, bring it to the Indian consumers and create an impact is something that is very close to me.
One skill that I personally feel people who move jobs built is knowing about various industries and being comfortable in just setting into a new role and can talk about anything and everything. I'm working with FMCG. I have worked in fashion. I have worked in healthcare. I have worked with the agencies as well, where you make business deals and all. So I think I have learned and picked different aspects of the business, which has helped me become an adaptable person in a way that, okay, I don't have to think twice that, okay, if I'm moving to a completely different industry, will I be able to do it? I know that I'll be able to do it because I have managed it for the last 13 years. And it wouldn't be that difficult for me to manage to get into a completely new industry. So I think that courage of getting out of what I have known and learn something new, I think that's one skill that we people build.
Oh, yes, it's all yours. I have a very simple answer to this, which is the ability of decision making. The ease and the ability of the correct decision making is something that, in my case, I've earned over the years. And this I realize is not because of any theory that I know or anything I read or what I studied back in college, but it is largely because of the experience. So a lot of things that you learn only through experience, which I have in my case, is helping me to take the right decisions most of the time, is what I would say.
See, there's just one point that I disagree on, right? I mean, and again, please feel free to counter me. The thing is, when you stay for too long, right, definitely you know a lot more about the system, right? And then your ability to make decisions definitely improves. But I think one thing that gets introduced is bias. Once that bias comes into picture, right, then the picture gets skewed, right? There's only one way to do this. That's, sometimes that's the opinion that, you make of it. And, when someone new enters, even with a less experience, but since he or she is new to the system, then they might introduce an opinion that's maybe sounds radical, but that could actually be true. So
maybe having that fresh eyes helps at early levels where your decision doesn't have that level of impact. But when you're running, let's say, a brand, a market, a country, 9 offices, and so on, then that decision needs to be calculated. So yes, how do we counter or how do we fill in for the fresh eyes is to get people in the team who can sound you off with those perspectives. But is it necessary for me to have those set of fresh eyes to run the business? They need not be my eyes.
Yeah.
I can always pay someone for his or her eyes and have multiple sets of eyes to give me that view. But at that level, when you have to take a high impact business decision, fresh eyes alone can only take you so much. If you're building something long term, it might take a different field, is what I feel.
Also, along with perspective, it's also about the experience of the different industries that person comes with. You have grown in the same organization with same industry level depth. Yes, depth is something I definitely respect for people who stay for long in the organization. And I have, like he mentioned, I have seen a lot of organizations seeing that change by bringing someone with a fresh perspective from outside, because that person has come with 15 years of experience, but over varied industries. People who have experience of multiple organizations would have experimented a similar kind of a thing in different industries and have that data set to know what is working and what is not working and make a right decision for the organization they are in. And that's where the perspective of someone coming from different industries, roles does matter, I feel.
So be loyal only when growth comes with it. Mm-hmm. And if growth, you're following growth, learning, and whatever your checklist would be, mine certainly is growth, learning, and challenges. If all the checklist is there's a yes to it, then loyalty matters. In that case, loyalty also compounds over time. However, if loyalty, you're just being loyal because you're lazy or you're complacent or you're comfortable, then I wouldn't suggest loyalty.
Loyalty is a trust, what I trust you establish with your current employee or with the people or the market we work. Because, for example, you are there in one company and tomorrow you are hopping to the company. So the addressable market is the same. So live about the company you are loyal to, the which company. You have to be loyal to the people, customers which you serve. So because tomorrow you are going with a different hat and you will say you have told certain things today and have implemented, and tomorrow you're coming with some other company and telling the reverse things. So people will not trust. The trust is what I take it as a loyalty.
No, I think fair point, but yeah, I would disagree a little, right? And my perspective is, right, I mean, it's anyway a one-player game, right? No matter where you go, right? Be it life or be it work, right? Ultimately, it should serve you, right? No matter what we say.
I'll just change the word of hopper to a strategic career investor because I think that's where we plan. And I don't know if that would agree with me, but yes, I think every move has a strategy for us in terms of why are we making that move? What is it adding to my career, to my learnings, and to my growth? And that's where I would change the hopper to a career investor, a strategic career investor rather than calling it a hopper.
Yeah, absolutely, no. Yeah, that makes sense.
I definitely appreciate the depth that you guys come with. But breadth and adaptability in that breadth is something which makes you, I think, fit in this fast changing industry, is what I feel.
So let's put it a little different way. See, for example, now, so you are in the same organization for 5-6 months, and if you miss your quota, or like marketing quota or sales quota for 3-4 quarters, because if it is a new organization,
Performer.
you are underperformer, but still the organization will give couple of more opportunity for you, or they can give it.
That depends, yeah.
That depends because I come from an industry, like startup industry, I would say. I have not seen them being very patient with the numbers. Every month, you achieved it? If yes, good. If you haven't, then what's next? It also depends what kind of a boss you're working with. If you have someone who is micromanaging everything, maybe you want to quit within first 3 months itself because you are not able to breathe in that environment.
It's bare minimum 6 months is required to learn about the role, what you are doing, even though you have experience in them. But you need at least bare minimum of runway of 6 months to just to understand the team, understand the company, understand the work, and then start delivering it.
See, there's no one answer. As you said, right, barely 6 months. I think these definitions are largely changing, right? Now, I think probably in any role, they would want you to be directionally correct, right? And that's very human, right? You would not want someone to spend 6 months to just figure out their direction.
If you're in the starting initial years of your career, you will be given that amount of time. Okay, you take your 6 months, you learn. And if you're changing from one role to the another role, you will be given 3 months time to pick up that new role, learn people and everything. But if you're a leader in the industry where you are known for your skill sets and you move to another organization, you will get a time frame of 3 months. So
obviously, right? so now that's next question I'll ask on top of that, because see, the strategic career investors because so you were there in the industry, because when you switch the job, because you are getting the extra money, they look at you plug and play, because you come here, next day you start performing it. They don't look at you as a person. It's a kind of machine. I start today, tomorrow I need the results. So do you agree with that? Because they look at ROI from you. Today I'm paying this much. Whether I'm going to get it within the 6 months results from the same person. If not, they will switch off the machine kind of thing.
There is one slight thing that I would want to kind of pivot here is, if I am moving to a role which is similar to my previous role, am I learning? I wouldn't even take it if I'm not learning anything in that role, right? That's one for me. Second, it's not always about money. We also look at what growth, learning, who is the person I'm going to work with. I have worked with CEOs of the organization and I have picked up those roles because with 0% hike, only because I was working to work with an industry leader who is very well known and has done amazing work in the industry. So for me, that's where I had made the moves. Strategic career investor, I would say. To your question, if I was expected to start performing from the next day itself, yes, I have been in an organization where I joined, I did my induction in the one day, I did my everything, paperwork all done in the first day. Second day onwards, start managing the team. Yes, I had to burn the midnight oil to do that. But I think that's about your ownership, right? You are taking the ownership and then you are proving yourself within a week and building that trust. And now you know that, okay, you did that in the first week itself. Now they trust you. They know that you can take the ownership of the thing and you don't have to keep proving yourself every day. So I think that's how I would put it, rather than calling it like hob for money. But I had my story to tell and I was able to justify why I have moved. I had the strategic moves. I was able to tell them a story around why this mattered to me at that moment, whether it was aligning with my career, not aligning with my career, where I wanted to go. And I think that was convincing enough in my journey. And I think at the end of the day, you have to be honest. If you're honest and you have that consistency in your story that you're telling, and if it is convincing enough, I think it's fair.
Yeah, and even if you've stayed for very long, I mean, it's the same question, right? You've stayed for very long, why do you want to make a move? And if you stayed for just 1 year, why do you want to make a move, right? That question is very consistent. Ultimately, interviews are about selling yourself.
Selling
right?
yourself.
And I think probably everybody would agree on that.
We all are negotiating at the end of the day for
So if
ourselves.
you negotiated well, strike the right deal, I think, yeah.
Am I looking for somebody who spent 5 years, 10 years in the organizations? Absolutely not. To be fair, that's not even on the checklist. It is purely what the candidate brings to the table. What is it that I am seeking? And during those 30, 40 minutes or 1 hour, is the candidate able to convince me that they will tag along in our thought process? That's pretty much it.
For me, it matters. If he's an experienced guy, he needs minimum 3 months. If it's a fresher, he needs minimum 6 months. That's how I look at it. Because when I look at this CV, if somebody is hopping quite frequently, it's a red flag for me.
I think that happens in interview process. If I find a profile which the person has moved multiple jobs, but like I said, what are the reasons, and are they fulfilling the purpose I'm hiring for? Are they the right fit for what my business needs at this moment? I might be needing depth at that moment, and then that person has probably made moves every year, but that person definitely holds the depth of the work that I need at that moment. I would go for it. I won't look at whether the person has spent 8 years to know that depth. If the person has spent one year in multiple organizations and still has that value, I would just go for it. I think for us, it's money.
Yeah.
That's what is a stereotype, but it's actually not true.
Yeah.
I think for loyalists or people who've stayed for long, comfort, complacency is something that I would say is very stereotypical of these kind of people.
Yeah.
I also want to kind of break the stereotype about people who move their careers, that they are moving just for money. They should look at it from the perspective that, okay, we're starting everything from scratch.
Yeah.
We are learning completely all over again. We are building something all over again. While we make friends at work, we are moving to a new organization. We have to again start all over again.
Yeah.
We have to know the people all over again. We have to build that relationship all over again. Tomorrow, I have been told that, okay, you won't be coming to the work today. I know I have to find something for myself. I have a good network because I have built that network in my career. So I think that resilience comes with us, is what I would say, which usually get missed.
True. No, absolutely.
And I'll keep that in mind. That's interesting. When I do my next hire and the candidate says, listen, 6 companies, I'll take that as a learning service.
Yeah.
What she just said. The ability to start from scratch. I just started admiring it right away. But the ability to start from scratch and pack your bags and open it up very quickly, I think.
We should pat our back for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because always you are a toast. Because
I don't know if I admire that, but I'm secretly, I envious of that. How can you live in that comfort for so long? Because for me, comfort becomes more of a discomfort after a certain time.
You know the ecosystem very well. You know the leadership well.
Yeah.
You know what will work for you, what will not work for you. And then you have made yourself comfortable in that setup. So somewhere I kind of keep asking that question, like, what motivates them to stay for so long in an organization? But at the same time, I'm sure there wouldn't be challenges on day-to-day basis, but there would be challenges coming in, and having that patience of, staying and knowing that, okay, things would change eventually and you will move to working on a new project while you're working on something for a while. Having that patience, I feel, is really admirable for me. Makes me think like, okay, there is no harm in staying for long.
And actually, one more very interesting thing, which is difficult to quantify, but your personal brand. That works very, very beautifully. The kind of job offers, or we don't say offers these days. When other companies would call me for a coffee, we just say coffee these days. We're not saying offers. And the kind of discussions I used to have 5-7 years back versus now what we talk. The content of this coffee has changed. So one thing I realized, while it is for you to answer that what you admire in the loyalist side, but while I am one, I admire this, is the ability to get that personal brand is good. And all said and done, ability to get the personal brand, learning, growth, everything happens only if there's a lot of green in my lockup. Until the time my account gets a lot of green, I'm good. So the moolah is very important, but these are the additional things.
Yeah.
I think a lot. And the reason is with AI, we are talking about the ability to execute certain things, to change the way of how we are. It's not going to affect one side and not the other. So it pretty much matters, according to me, wherever you are, whichever career stage, whether you are a fresher or you're sitting with 20 years of experience. That is the need of the hour. And we as an organization, I as a person, I look at it very seriously. And I do see that a lot of folks around are doing that as well.
Yeah, I know that the damage is even, right? Even if you're a loyalist or whatever, right? Wherever you are, and it's not going to go away, right? It's only going to go up. So yeah, as long as I think you're making yourself familiar with AI, right? Understanding it, using it the right way, it's going to help you, right? No matter if you stay in a company for 15 years, if the AI is after your job, it will be. Right?
Correct.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I agree with that. So main thing important because how you are adopt that AI.
Yeah.
Because the
Adapting,
industry
yeah.
definitely it's adoption. We are catering to the engineering segment and most impacted
Of
is
course.
engineering now. Tomorrow, if I am not adapting the AI, because it's a threat or it's an opportunity for both, for a company or for an individual. So how we are taking it is very important.
yeah.
I think I agree with all of you, irrespective whether you stayed in the organization for long or have moved within industry. If you are comfortable learning new skill and picking up on that skill, how adaptable you are, I think that's what matters at this moment in the world of AI. And I think we all know that industry is moving very fast. And how are we moving and learning as an individual? Are we growing with the industry growth? If the answer to that is yes, of course. And while we speak about layoffs, I think in most of the cases, reasons have been if their work was replaceable by AI, they would have probably were asked to move on. And I have known people who have been able to stay and were retained because they picked up with the industry, they built that skill in themselves, and they were given that platform to continue to work with better opportunities and growth within the organization. So I think how quickly you move yourself with the changing industry, that is very important, and irrespective what kind of journey you have had in your career, doesn't matter.